started in what I never really know what I'm going to talk about, because sometimes it doesn't come till the night or two before. This one happened a couple of weeks ago. I've been asked by the Methodist Church to be one of the 4 people who are starting a men's rally, I guess is the best way to call it, for the Catawba Village District, and open to all churches, not just Methodist Church, but we're starting to be at the Hickory Convention Center. And we're expecting 2,000, 2,500 men to show up. And after we got reading some of the stuff and some of the people that we wanted to come speak, I saw this one story about a young man. His name is Nick Vacek. I don't know if anybody has heard of him or seen anything on him. He was born with no arms and no legs. He lived a life basically of feeling rejected, of not fitting in anywhere, being bullied. Had every reason in the world to not be thankful for what the Lord had given him. He now is a motivational speaker, speaks all over the world. He shares his story to millions of people, that God has a purpose for each and every life. Not just the ones that we think have it better than us, but each and every life. There was one of the sayings that he had said, and I wanted to read this. In the world of give and take, there are not enough people willing to give what it takes. And that's our society now, that everything is free, and we deserve everything. We're owed everything. We don't have to earn it. So when we don't get it and don't earn it, we want to fuss about it. We want to complain about it. We want to say, well, God, why didn't you give me that? We've all done it. I've done it many times. When we lost our first child, I thought to the Lord, why would you do that? Why would you take a child of ours from us? And it's hard to feel and reason why that happened. And as I come later on, I know it made me stronger. It made me accept the things and be thankful for the things that I have. God doesn't cause the bad things to happen. God is the one that's there when they happen to help us. In 1 Corinthians 12:4 it says, now there are varieties of gifts, but the same Spirit. He gives us all gifts. And that's one of the things that we sometimes don't use. Right now, playing the piano so beautifully. I'd give anything in the world to be able to play an instrument. I'd love to be able to play the guitar, the piano. I wish I had a voice. If I sang right now, y'all would run for the door. I know it. My grandfather lived in the choir at the church and sang beautifully, and he said I could teach anybody to sing. He tried to teach me to sing, and the rest of his life he finally said I can teach anybody to sing but Larry. And I know that, so I don't try to sing. I sing, and I sing quietly. And when we're at church and I'm up top, I don't trust the person with a mic. If he's going to turn my mic off, I'll back away. And I'll sing from a distance so nobody can hear me. You know, that's to keep everybody there. And I do that for a reason. But that wasn't the gift that I was given, even though it's one I love. My daughter has come here and played guitar and sang before y'all sometimes. She sings beautifully. Has unbelievable talent playing the guitar. You know, I think God did that for a reason. Because if I could play guitar and sing, you'd never get me off the stage. I am a ham. I love attention. You know, but God gave me something I can't do. He gave me the ability to speak. I love to speak. Yesterday I spoke at Marvin's United Methodist Church. And I told them, at the beginning, I said, you know, thank you for inviting me. I said, but you might want to be careful what you ask for. I said, they told me I had 45 minutes to speak, and I love to speak. Well, the first one guy said, no, it's 10 minutes. It's 10 minutes. That's all you got. You know, but I do. I enjoy it. And that's the gift he's given me, and I try to use it to a purpose. I had the ability to deal with kids all the way up to nearly 60 years old. I still was able to relate to kids. I don't know how. I always thought that I was too old. And everybody said, no, those kids still love you. And I said, well, maybe, you know, that's God's gift that he's given me. I've got to use it. I've made a decision to step down from the youth and go into full ministry. it involves a lot of talking. You know, my wife says, you have such compassion for people. And I said, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. So let's make sure we take care of use our gifts that God gave us. That's what I'm so thankful for it. I am. I am so thankful for the gift that He's given me. We all have a gift. And we all can hear it right now beautifully when she plays that piano. You know, we have a gift. Let's make sure we use it. We think of some of the people in the Bible, of people who had reasons not to be thankful. And old Paul, Apostle Paul, he didn't have a reason not to be thankful. I mean, he was accused of everything unjustly. He was beaten, chained, his legs, his wrist, with metal irons that cut into him. He was abused. But Paul always thanked God. He was always praying. I go back to one of the times I went up to the World War II memorial in Washington, D.C., and I heard a veteran speak, and he was a prisoner of war at one of the concentration camps. And he sat there and he said, you know, he'd pray every day. And one of the guys come and said, why are you praying? What has God done for you? You're in this camp, you're dying, you're down to skin and bones. These people mistreat us and beat us every day. How in the world are you praying? He looked at the man just honest as he could, and he looked over at one of the German soldiers, and he says, I'm thankful because I'm not one of them that has to live a life of what they've done. My God, I'm searching for something to be thankful for. Right now, we have a member in our congregation, and I've thought about mentioning the name, and I'm not sure, but I guess he wouldn't mind. I still coach basketball. We honored somebody the other day at one of our basketball games, Tony Cosby, a young man in his late 40s who has come down with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. And in 2.5 years, it has just about taken every part of his body there is. He's now on a ventilator, which I saw him 3 weeks before, and he wasn't. When he showed up at the game, he was, and it was an incredible shock. And I think, you know, what do I have to complain about? Like the title of my thing, whatever problem I had that day, I had no right to have. We all want more. We want more money. You know, I want to be thinner. I want to be better looking. It ain't going to happen, but I might get thinner. That's a lot of work. But you know, you want more. You want more money. But I sit and think about the people that are rich and how many people you see that have all this money in the world, and you hear them talk about they're not happy. They want more and more and more. And I'm like, I want more and more and more too. But why don't I just stop and be thankful for what I have? I've been married 37 years. Believe it or not, to the same person. That's amazing. That one person could put up with me for 37 years. She is a saint of a lady. I tell you that much. I have 4 children, all healthy. One went through a very tough time, was told at 14 that he wouldn't be able to walk by the time he was 20. He's 31 now. He went through 2 years of major surgery, but he's walking, he's coaching, and he has a grandson. He has a son. I have a grandson. He has a son, and I have a grandson. Something to be thankful for. But what should we be thankful for? And why should we be thankful? Sometimes we want to be thankful for material things. That's the most important thing. That we wear the designer something, or the designer this, or some diamond that costs some amount of money or something like that. It's not what we need to be thankful for. It's nice if we have them. That's not what we need to be thankful for. We want to be thankful for the people in our lives. There's people in our lives that have made a difference. At the end of this, I'll tell you about a short story about one that made a difference in mine. But be thankful for people in our lives, whether it's our spouse, our kids, our grandchildren, friends, somebody that's been there for you. I have a sister, and it hurts me so much. I have a sister that hasn't talked to my mother, her mother, for about 5 years now. My mom has Alzheimer's. It's not going to be much longer before she doesn't even know who she is, if she does now. She knows who my dad is, and she knows who I am. And she asked me numerous times, are you married? How many kids do you have? When that will be the same time I'm sitting there with her. I can't understand how family can walk away from family. No matter what she feels my mother did years ago, I can't understand that. So if some people are going to do you wrong or make a mistake, that's no reason not to be thankful for them being there for part of your life, or whatever part it was. It's always fortunate to have somebody there to talk to. That person that was there and spoke something to you and told you something that really was important to you, that helped you through a rough time, that was there by your side. And then it's also great to be by somebody else's side. It's that part of giving that makes us so much feel so good. It's the part of giving. And then we're also thankful that God is in our midst, that God is there, especially in troubled times. That's the time that we truly need to turn to God. That's the time we need God. When everything's going right, God's there for us. But a lot of times when things go wrong, when I was told by the doctor that, Brad, you need to quit playing soccer. You'll be in a wheelchair by the time you were 20. That's not the time to turn away from God. That's the time to turn to God. Remember, He doesn't control the bad things. He doesn't make them happen. But He's there to help you when they do. In 1 Thessalonians 5:18, Paul declares, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Jesus Christ. Give thanks to God in all circumstances. Not when we need, not when we have, but when the rough times come. God will be the one that will lead you on. I didn't see the picture when Brad was 14. All I saw was Brad's soccer career was that his dream was gone. His younger brother went on and played Division I college, was a phenomenal athlete, and he will tell you to this day that Brad was twice the soccer player he ever was. Brad didn't get his career in soccer, but he's helping kids right now. He's coached soccer teams for the last 10, 12 years and been there for kids. And they look up to him because they know it hurts him every day he goes out there to coach. If it's cold, his feet go numb. He comes home and in pain after coaching for 3 hours. And the kids know that. He had a young man just recently, one of his players, that got in an accident at work. He just graduated last year and cut his 3 fingers off of his right hand. His mom called me the other day and said, Jordan came downstairs the other day and said, will you guys quit crying for me? He said, Brad taught me to be thankful for what we have and that we can gut it out and nothing can stop us. If that's the only thing that comes out of his injury, it's worth it. Sometimes we don't know what will happen. And then, of course, we want to take the time to thank God for the greatest gift. Whoops. The greatest gift of all. And that's that we have everlasting life. That we're there, that He's there for us. And this isn't it. My mother doesn't have long. I know that. I have made sure that I know in my heart that I'll see her again. That's a priority for me. I don't know who else I'll see again, but I hope everybody I touch, I've made a little difference to make sure I see them again. Because this isn't it. And as the old country song says, it doesn't all end in a slow ride in a hearse. It doesn't. It's just the start. This is just a speck of our lives. And I'll be so excited because I've made the joke before that I've been told that when I get there, my slice will be gone and I'll be able to hit the golf ball straight. That's a priority for me because I don't do it very often. But even though we are sinners, God tells us He loves us and He wants to be part of His family. I want to tell a little short story of how you can be thankful for small things. And I'll try to get through it, but I didn't do very well last week at church, so I'll try it a little better today. Let me get myself. Tony Cosby told me when he got up there, think of a joke, and I'm trying to think of a joke right now. It's not coming to me though, but my wife and I met us, and y'all probably heard the story. We went through church. I knew her for a week. First date she ever went on with me, I was still playing competitive basketball. I got thrown out of a basketball game. I think that would have been the end of our dating if I hadn't gone to my house when I was at the time working as a youth director at a church. And there was about 50 kids waiting for me at the house. I guess my wife decided he can't be all bad. I mean, he's not a very good sport, but maybe he's not all bad. And I asked her to marry me. A week later, we got married. And we've been married 37 years. We were involved in church. I stayed working with the youth. When the boys got older to start playing ball, I got away from the youth. I got away from coaching because I wanted to watch them play. I was very involved with them, very involved with my life at work. I would probably go to church once a month just so I could say that I go to church. You know those people. I went to church. I go to church. I was in the pew, and that's about it. I didn't have my own pew, but I went to church. So I could tell people, yeah, I go to church. I'm there. So we moved here about 14 years ago, and I was looking for a church, my wife and I, probably to continue doing what we were doing. You know, come to a church, find a church that we could come to once or twice a month, and that would be about it. My son was playing college ball. I wanted to make sure I got to all his games. You know, I wanted to do all that and be involved in things I wanted to do. I want to play golf. I want to do all those things. And I went to Rotary Club, and a man came up to me and started talking to me. He was a little older than I am. And I was, maybe a lot older, but we won't get into that. And he started talking to me, he said, what have you done in your life? And I told him I'm youth director. He said, you know what? We've got to open it at my church for a youth director. You want to get back into it? Well, I found out you didn't tell this man no. It was impossible to say no to him. So I said, yeah, I will. So I went and interviewed, got the job. Charlie Burleson brought me back to church. Charlie Burleson is the reason I'm doing what I'm doing. Charlie Burleson brought me back to God and put my priorities in a different man. One man who saw me at a Rotary Club and took the time to speak to me and find out about me. What am I thankful for? A lot of things. I'm especially thankful for a person who brought me back to God.
Larry, I think you should tell them a little bit about Tommy Burleson.
Charlie Burleson?
He was principal, started school, then what happened to him and how he came back.
Who's that? Tommy Burleson?
Yes.
Or the basketball player? Well, I don't know a whole lot about Tommy. I do know about David because he is coming to speak. But Tommy Burleson played at NC State and was on that championship team. And he is a big speaker now, goes around and has been, I don't know what he was working at a school, is that what it was? Okay, I didn't know that's where he was, but I know that he had the same thing that happened with David Thompson is he had some things happen to him. And he was actually one of the people, if I'm not mistaken, that brought David Thompson back to God. And David Thompson now works with a Fellowship of Christian Athletes. But Charlie was a man here in town. I know some of y'all know Charlie. He has since passed away. This is Charlie's. I spoke the other week at church, and I did a lot worse than I did just now when I spoke at Charlie. And I made the mistake I went like this, and I said, Charlie made this hard. And I didn't even realize I said it. My wife told me afterwards, do you know what you said? And I said, no. She said, you said Charlie made that hard. And it was just a sign to show you that Charlie Burleson's in my heart. And that's where the cross is. And I had no intention of saying it. I had no reason to say it. I don't know why I said it. But people, be thankful for small things, because they are the ones that are going to make difference in your life. It's not material. It's not money. It's not power. It's not privilege. It's the small things that we need to be thankful for. Because as I said before, whatever problem I had that day didn't seem to be that important. Because I have so much to be thankful for. Amen.